first, the biggest story this afternoon, Jason Kidd out as the Milwaukee Bucks head coach. Joe Prunty will step in as the interim head coach. Also, general manager John Horst. They both spoke to the media earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, I think, we made this decision relatively quickly. Why now? At the end of the day, we believe this gives our team the best opportunity to have the most success this season, the success that we expect, and going forward long term. And so you have short windows in the NBA to build towards contention and actually contend, and we didn't want to waste time in putting our team in the best position to do that.
Yeah, I think it's been a shock for all of us. But one of the things is we have to prepare for a game that's going to happen here in about 70 minutes or so. So, one of the things that happened is you do your normal prep, you get ready for the game, and then when something like this happens, things change a little bit. As John said, we'll coach tonight in a fashion that we've done before. So that part of it is good because there is some familiarity there. But there obviously is a change, and that change can be difficult sometimes too.
Several Bucks players have also reached out via social media, but we'll start with Isiah. Why make this move now?
Well, as John said, it happened rather quickly, and you never know what goes on in those meetings. It could have been a difference of philosophies in terms of coach wanted to do something else, management wanted to do something else, and clearly they weren't able to get through the hurdle of today, and therefore a change was made. But I do believe that they have good management in Milwaukee. They have good players in Milwaukee, and it's a great opportunity for the right coach stepping in if they can bring it all together. I don't think any of these are bad people. Jason's not a bad person. John's not a bad person. For whatever reason, it just didn't work. A decision was made, and as John said, it was made rather quickly today. And, you move on, and the players will get dressed, and they will go out, and they will have to compete and perform.
Yeah, it's tough, Chris. Having been in that situation, never like this exactly. But, look, when you make a move like this, you're trying to give your team a spark. You're trying to give them a little breath of fresh air. And Isiah said it. If the front office and the head coach can't get on the same page, then it's a difficult marriage to try to maintain. And sometimes it's best to just part ways. But Isiah's right. Milwaukee has a lot of talent. We're all a little perplexed about Milwaukee. They have moments where they play like a contending team, and then they have moments where they just kind of disappear. And when you look at this team, the first thing comes to mind, why aren't they a better defensive team? I think that's the big thing. You can score enough points, but if you look at the Boston Celtics this year, they're the first. They have the #1 seed right now in the East based on how they play defensively. And when you look at Giannis and Henson and all the length that they have, you would think they would be a little bit better defensively than what they are.
Absolutely. And again, these are good basketball people. Milwaukee's front office, these are good basketball minds. Jason Kidd, he's a good basketball mind. So, this is surprising and shocking to all of us because all of these are in the business. We look at all these people as good basketball people. So to have this breakup and whoever steps in, they're stepping into a really good opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Giannis has said that he's devastated by the fact that Jason Kidd was let go. When you have the star of the team supporting the head coach, you would think that Jason Kidd would at least be able to finish out the season. Sam, are you surprised that with Giannis's backing that Jason Kidd didn't at least get to finish the season?
Well, sometimes that's the kiss of death. And I mean that. Well,
okay.
Look, because people think, if the star player is advocating for that guy. But sometimes in management, you got to take a step back and say, okay, yeah, I know my star player is advocating for that guy, but what we may need is a coach that comes in and is going to spread the wealth a little bit. And sometimes, if the only player on the team is the star player who's happy and thriving, then it's kind of like at the church. If the only guy that's benefiting from the sermon is the preacher, and the people out there listening to the sermon not benefiting, then there's kind of something wrong if the preacher leaves the church in a Cadillac and everybody else driving Buicks, right? It just doesn't feel right. And I get what you're saying, but sometimes in management, you've been there. If the star player is advocating for the guy and the other players are kind of sitting back in their seat, then sometimes you need to make a move because one player can't get you to that championship and win. And so from that standpoint, I can understand a little bit. Giannis is devastated, but in the long term, it may be better because sometimes you just need a fresh set of eyes to look at the same problem that you have.
And Sam, you are 100% correct. And sometimes you just need another 24 hours to talk. You know, we talked to Dwayne Casey today, and 2 years ago they were talking about he and Masai, you know, breaking up in Toronto. And they were talking about moving Casey and finding a new coach. But he and Masai got together, they talked, they figured out the game plan, and they kept working. Sometimes in these situations, when you wake up and you say, we're going to fire the coach, or we're going to get rid of so-and-so, if you can give yourself another 24 or 36 hours just to work through it, just to talk through it, you may come up with a better solution.
Yeah, and both parties got to be willing to give a little bit. You have to be, as a coach, sometimes it's tough because we're ingrained in what we want to do because it's worked for us in the past. But sometimes you got to take a step back and you got to listen to people because you never know sometimes by listening where you're going to get that next best idea from.
And I ended up with this. The Milwaukee front office and Jason Kidd,
okay,
these are well-respected and good basketball people.
Yeah.